He's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do.
It was the coldest day in the Big Harbour anyone could remember in a long time. It was so cold that the dispatcher was wearing earmuffs and a scarf.
Good morning,
he said. The dispatcher had a bad cold.
Good morning, sir,
said Hank.
We really like the new red ropes we're testing,
said Emily. All the tugboats had been given new red tow ropes to test. They were supposed to be able to see them better on the dull gray days of winter.
I think this red rope looks very modern,
said Foduck in a strong, clear voice.
Who?
said the dispatcher. His cold seemed to be making it hard for him to hear. Theodore spoke up loudly.
This new red tow rope.
Slowpoke? Are you calling me a slowpoke?
No, sir,
said Theodore quickly.
I said tow rope. The new red ones, the ones we're all testing today.
Resting today? Why are you resting today? You're supposed to be testing a new tow ropes,
said the dispatcher.
Now, Foduck, you have your harbor safety patrol this morning.
Yes, sir, said Foduck.
George and Emily, please stand by for a big container ship coming in later today. Theodore and Hank, right now, I would like you to bring a small cargo ship into dry dock. Petra will meet you at the harbor entrance. That is all.
Great, said Hank enthusiastically.
We're on our way, sir,
added Theodore. Theodore and Hank met Petra the pilot boat at the entrance to the harbor.
Good morning, Petra,
called Theodore.
Oh, it's even colder out here near the ocean.
It sure is, answered Petra. Let's get this ship in quickly. Theodore got on in front and Hank got behind, ready to push.
You ready, Hank?
said Theodore.
Ready,
replied Hank. Theodore began to move forward. He glanced at his bright blue red rope. It looked pretty good, and sure enough, it was getting straighter and straighter. Then he started to feel it getting tighter.
This is my favorite part,
thought Theodore.
When the rope gets tight, suddenly I can feel myself pulling the whole ship by myself.
The rope got tighter and tighter. Theodore began to pull. But then, a terrible thing happened. All of a sudden, the new red rope just snapped. The cargo ship bumped right back into Hank.
Ow! Hank, are you all right?
called Theodore, chugging over to his friend.
Oh, I'm okay,
said Hank.
What a bump. What happened, Theodore?
Theodore's rope snapped, said Petra.
I'm very sorry, said Theodore. I don't know why it happened.
Hank, said Petra, you better go to the repair yard to see if you're all right. And you need to go back to the dock, Theodore, Petra continued. I'll use my radio to call the dispatcher and ask him to send another tug to finish this job. Okay, said Theodore sadly. He felt badly about what had happened. He thought he had made some kind of mistake, but he wasn't quite sure what it was. Meanwhile, Petra called the dispatcher on her two-way radio. Back at the Great Ocean dock, the dispatcher's two-way radio crackled to life. It was Petra. Now, the dispatcher still wasn't feeling very well. Between the cold and the earmuffs, he could hardly hear Petra's story.
Those new red ropes we're testing are dangerous. They can't be counted on for towing,
she was calling on her radio.
Who? Over,
asked the dispatcher, foggily, thinking that Petra was calling about one of the tugs. Who? wondered Petra. What did the dispatcher mean? Then she decided he must have meant whose too.
Theodore's. Over,
she said into her radio.
Well, we'll have to see about that.
Radioed back to the dispatcher.
I'll send Foduck to finish the job. Over and out.
Theodore was on his way back to the Great Ocean dock when he saw the dispatcher waiting for him. Oh, he thought, the dispatcher doesn't look very happy. wonder if it's because of the mistake I made. And then, what the dispatcher said was worse than Theodore could ever have imagined.
Dangerous and can't be counted on. This is the worst report I've ever had about one of my tugs.
What? Sputtered Theodore. He was very surprised by what the dispatcher was saying. You see, being sick was making the dispatcher grumpy.
I'll have to deal with this later,
He said,
I need to rest now. In the meantime, Theodore, you have to stay here at the dock.
"Stay at the dock," echoed Theodore.
Stay at the dock.
Repeated the dispatcher.
And do not leave for any reason.
Well, Theodore thought maybe he had just made a small mistake. Now it seemed much bigger than that. Had he done something that he'd forgotten about? He felt miserable. The dispatcher turned for arrest. He even hung up a special sign telling everyone that he was not to be disturbed. A little later, Hank returned from the repair yard with a surprise that he hoped would cheer Theodore up. "Hi, Theodore," he called. "They checked me out and I'm fine. They ran out of the new red ropes we're testing, so I can only get you one of our old regular brown ones." "Well, I guess that's about all I deserve," said Theodore. "What?" said Hank. He didn't think that sounded like Theodore at all. "The dispatcher told me I have to stay at the dock." "What for?" wondered Hank. "I really don't know," said Theodore. "It must have been a mistake," said Hank. "The dispatcher? Make a mistake?" said Theodore. "The dispatcher doesn't make mistakes." Just then, Petra arrived, looking very worried. "George and Emily are having trouble with the container ship. I need the two of you to come with me and help." "Yes, ma'am," said Hank, and fired his engine. But Theodore did nothing. More than anything, he wanted to help his friends, but he knew he wasn't allowed to. "I'm sorry, I can't leave the dock," he said quietly. "The dispatcher said I have to stay here. I don't even know why." "Well, there must have been some mistake," said Petra. "I'll talk to the dispatcher." But then Petra saw the do not disturb sign the dispatcher hung up. Petra made up her mind then and there. "Theodore," she said, "I'm the pilot boat on this job, and I need you. I'm ordering you to leave the dock right now." Well, Theodore was needed, and after all, Petra had given an official pilot boat order. Off he went. Theodore and Hank followed Petra to where George and Emily were waiting. By now, George and Emily were really in a fix. "We were trying to bring in the container ship," said Emily, "when both of our new red ropes snapped."
We need someone else to button on and pull this ship,
said George. "You better go ahead, Hank," said Theodore. "I shouldn't even be here."
"I'll try,"
said Hank. He had never pulled a ship from up front before, but this was an emergency. Hank buttoned his new red rope onto the ship and slowly began to pull. All of a sudden, his new red rope snapped too. "Oh no," said Petra. "That's the fourth new rope this morning. They just don't work. How are we ever going to get this ship in?" Theodore was thinking. He looked around at the broken red ropes dangling from the other tugs. Suddenly, he had the answer. "I think the new red ropes are snapping because it's so cold." Theodore floated into the middle of the group. "I have one of my regular old tow ropes. Maybe the regular ropes won't snap." "Try it, Theodore," said Petra. "Yes, please try," agreed the container ship. "I must get into the dock." Theodore buttoned his regular old tow rope onto the container ship. Then slowly, he began to pull. Soon he would be pulling the ship, but would the old tow rope work? The container ship started to move, just a little bit at first. All the others held the ground. Theodore's rope was stretched out all the way. Theodore made a determined face and gave the ship its mightiest pull. And the big container ship followed behind him. Theodore pulled the container ship into her dock, and all the tugs let out a great cheer. "Hooray for Theodore!" shouted Hank. "Good work!" added George.
What's the matter, Theodore? Asked Emily. I was just thinking I'm going to get in more trouble. The dispatcher did say I had to stay in the dock.
Stay in your dock? Why?
Asked George. For no reason, said Hank, that we can think of, he added quickly. That's strange, said Emily. How could he make a mistake like that? The dispatcher doesn't make mistakes, said Theodore. Just then, Petra hurried away. Let's get back to the dock, said Hank. I'm cold. Well, for the second time that day, Theodore found himself returning to the great ocean dock. Well, the closer he got to the dock, the more Theodore worried. The dispatcher had taken down his do not disturb sign and was talking to Petra. Theodore slipped quietly into his place at the docks. He hoped the dispatcher hadn't noticed he was gone.
Ah, Theodore,
Said the dispatcher.
you're here.
Yes, sir, said Theodore quietly.
Theodore,
He began.
I should not have told you to stay at the dock.
Theodore didn't say a word.
Petra has just explained everything that happened.
The dispatcher continued.
The problem was with the red ropes, not you. I didn't hear Petra very well. I made a terrible mistake, and I'm very sorry.
I didn't think you ever made mistakes, Theodore said.
Of course I do.
Said the dispatcher with a smile in his voice.
It wasn't my first, and it won't be my last. And I'm sure I wouldn't have snapped at you if I hadn't had this terrible, this terrible cold.
That's funny, laughed Hank. Our tow ropes wouldn't have snapped either if the weather had been so cold. Agreed Photo.
It was a real cold snap.
And everyone, even the dispatcher, had a good laugh about that.
That's true.
Theodore, he's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do. Pushing and a pulling in the great big harbor in the great big world is so much fun. So many brand new things to discover. Waking with the sun, gotta get the job done. Oh, Theodore and Emily, oh, Hank and George and the Harbourmaster too. Likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do.